Now we start the phase where we start doing the rest of the exterior trim and moving ourselves towards siding. So generally the first place I start is going to be at a water table or a base of wall detail. And I'm going to set this based off of my reference lines that I shot earlier in the building process. So what I'll do is I'll pre-start all of my screws, fit my joints, and work my water table complete around the building. So the purpose of a water table, a splashboard, or a mud board is to protect the lowest section of the building. So when rain would fall off of the roof line, hit the ground and splash back, it would collect here, and if a piece was going to be rotting, it was going to be this one. They were originally a sacrificial piece, and they've just become a part of the architectural vernacular now. So our fastening pattern on all this material is dictated by the manufacturers. They're going to require a minimum of 1.5 inches worth of embedment. They require either a full-headed nail or screw, and the spacing is going to be dependent upon the thickness and width of the material. I suggest you refer to the manufacturer's install instructions to be clear on those details. After installing the water table, it's nice to add a little bit more detail by adding a cap profile. In this case, we're using a profile from Clear that's actually meant to be a window head, but I find that it makes a nice detail on top of our water table. It has a built-in drip kerf on the bottom, as well as an upturned leg that helps with the start of any siding above. Something we haven't talked about yet is dealing with expansion and contraction as temperatures change. As things heat up, the PVC expands across its length, and as temperatures drop, it contracts. So what we need to do is find some way to minimize that, as well as keeping it aesthetically pleasing. So when you have a long run across a building, instead of doing a butt joint, which can open up and we can see the material behind it, there's two other options. One option is a traditional mitered scarf joint like this, which allows the material to open and close to deal with the expansion and contraction. My preferred method is to use a half-lap joint like this. As the material contracts or expands, you have an opening here with solid PVC behind it so that it's less noticeable. I like to leave these joints unglued because that allows the material to have a place to absorb that expansion and contraction. You can add a sealant into this space right here, which will further help to mask the joint if you feel it's necessary. Another way we can deal with the expansion and contraction of the pieces is by building in some areas for the material to move to. So instead of going tight into a corner with my piece here, where it's going to be hidden by the next adjoining piece, I'll back off and leave about a 1/4 inch gap right there, so as the material expands, it has a place for it to go to. For me, there's only one way to do outside corners, and that's a miter joint. What I'll do is I'll glue these joints because I don't want them to open and close with expansion and contraction, pin them with some 18 gauge brads, and clip them together with some spring miter clamps.